What is up, YouTube? It's your girl Evelyn, and today I want to discuss what I think are some overrated lesbian films. To be clear, overrated does not mean bad. Most of these films are excellent, but maybe don't quite live up to their own hype. So sit back, enjoy the video, and as always, there will be spoilers, so proceed with caution.
You're sleeping with him, aren't you?
What?
Just be honest with me, okay? Don't make me feel crazier than I feel right now.
Where's this coming from?
Well, I found your hair in his drain.
Because I was working and I got dirty and I took a shower.
Yeah. Did you take a nap too?
What do you get when you introduce a lesbian couple to the super cool sperm donor who fathered their kids nearly 2 decades ago? An aggressively average movie. The Kids Are Alright was alright. Julianne Moore and Annette Bening play a believable, if not unlikable, lesbian couple, while Mark Ruffalo plays a character so cool, I also low-key wanted to sleep with him. And then there are the kids, who are apparently alright. Don't get me wrong, I love average movies, but what I don't love is when average movies win Best Picture at the Golden Globes, are nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, and become the Sundance Darling of the Year. And although the cast of this film was absolutely stacked with talent, that talent just felt criminally underutilized in what is essentially a 2-hour-long episode of the L Word. And that's no shade to the L Word, but if that's the case, where's Jen's Golden Globe?
Gary asked me to marry her. And I said yes.
Oh.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing.
I will admit though, The Kids Are Alright was easily the best LGBTQ film of 2010, but they were also up against
I lost some 17 children. Some were born as blood, some without breath, and some were with me for a very brief time. Oh, my dear.
I'll admit, I like The Favorite. It's a witty, darkly comic, and well-acted film, but that doesn't mean it's not overrated, or at the very least, a highly acquired taste. Now, what I'm not gonna do is hate on Olivia Colman's Oscar win, because in my opinion, she absolutely deserved it. But I'm also not gonna pretend like The Favorite isn't a hella weird movie.
I didn't need to see that.
The Favorite is set in 18th century England and centers around Queen Anne and her dual relationships with her close friend Lady Sarah and her servant Abigail. And let's just say, things get a little gay. The Favorite is 100% an art house film that tries to pretend it's not really an art house film. Like if someone were to serve you what is clearly caviar, but tells you it's just tiny blueberries and they're supposed to taste that way. Now, I don't have a problem with weird movies getting shine. And like I said, Olivia Colman definitely deserved the Academy Award. She was easily the best thing about the film, but that's the thing. She was the best thing about the film. But for The Favorite to be nominated and win so much shit, it was ultimately kind of underwhelming and definitely overrated.
Pretty country around where I live. Would you like to come visit me this Sunday?
Yes.
What a strange girl you are.
Why?
Flung out of space.
Carol, or as I like to call it, style over substance.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really.
Carol, a period film about a May-December lesbian love affair, might be the most controversial choice on the list, but it's also the one that comes the closest to living up to its hype. No one can deny that visually, Carol is an absolute stunner. It looks the part, but it just doesn't quite feel the part. In fact, it doesn't feel like much of anything at all. I understand the muted, subtle tone the film was going for, but it came at the expense of creating real connection between the audience and the characters. At best, I felt a tenuous connection to Carol, and really only because her custody storyline pulled at my heartstrings. Therese, on the other hand, could have been run over by a bus. and that would have been fine. What makes me sad about Carol is it didn't have to be on this list. It had all of the ingredients it needed to be great. Amazing actors, a compelling storyline, a big-ass budget, but alas, here we are. If after you watch a movie, people have to tell you the movie is good to make you realize the movie is good, maybe the movie isn't. Mulholland Drive is considered to be a masterpiece by many people who are, I'm sure, much smarter than I am. And I love that for them. Betty is an aspiring actress in Hollywood who meets Rita, a woman who's recently lost her memory. So Betty decides to help Rita out, and the two women embark on a shenanigans-filled Hollywood adventure in search of Rita's memory. I won't try to convince you that Mulholland Drive isn't a clever film with a brilliant plot twist, because it is, but the execution of that plot twist is a lot. It's like an enigma, wrapped in another enigma, wrapped in weirdness for the sake of weirdness. I don't begrudge anyone who loves Mulholland Drive and thinks it's a masterpiece. I just think it's a tad overrated.
Ça fait combien de temps que tu couches avec lui?
Je suis jamais sortie.
Combien de fois t'as couché avec lui? Dis-le-moi. Depuis combien de temps tu me mens? Ça fait combien de temps que tu me prends pour une conne?
Je te prends pas pour une conne, je t'ai jamais prise pour une conne.
Dégage d'ici. Allez, tu dégages. Je veux pas d'une petite menteuse ici. Tu dégages, tu fais tes affaires et tu dégages. Allez hop. Dégage.
Last week, over on the community page, I asked you guys which film you thought was the most overrated, and this one was by far the winner. Blue is the Warmest Color is a French coming-of-age film about Adele, and who she is prior to a relationship, who she is while in a relationship, and who she is after the relationship. Now, this is a strange overrated film in the sense that it's overrated not because it's thought to be amazing as a whole, but because of the way it depicts queer female sex in a full-length feature film. And for those who haven't watched it, it includes a pretty graphic 6-minute-long sex scene between the two leads. So, I'm actually torn about Blue is the Warmest Color being overrated because, yes, overall, I thought it was a long-ass, sometimes uninteresting, and low-key objectifying movie. But there were also some straight-up brilliant scenes that I cannot deny. I also respect how the movie basically warns you in the beginning that it's going to be this super close, uncomfortable view of every minute detail of this woman's existence. I'm also a sucker for anatomy of a relationship type films. So, yeah. I'm not 100% sure that I do think Blue is overrated. That is it for the list. I want to give a quick shout out to my newest patrons, Planet Love, Gwen, and Nightmare Maven. Friday, May 21st, your girl will be live on Instagram chatting with my homegirl Jen, who is the owner of Citizen RUTH, an amazing company that sells high-quality feminist art, books, clothing, jewelry, you name it. Jen and I will be discussing our upcoming partnership, as well as this video. So, if you have been triggered by this video, or you just want to see my ugly mug, please come hang out with us on Instagram Live. And you guys already know you can catch me every single week over on Patreon, where I review the most random-ass lesbian movies I can get my hands on, plus books. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.